Okay, so Chassidut teaches, the teachings of Chassidut, they put a tremendous emphasis on understanding that God's existence is the only real existence, and that God creates us, but He gives us free will, and with this free will, we can decide what's our real identity. Is our real identity myself, ourselves, and our talents and our achievements? Or is it God, that God is creating us and God's giving us all the talents and He's giving us all these achievements? Okay, making the second choice is what's called bittul. Bittul, for lack of a better word, it means self-negation. Even though it's really not exactly self-negation, it's more like self-devotion, being harmonious. Like we talked about, this, like a soldier in the army. So he devotes himself, he gives himself over to, but it's not that he negates himself. He happens, maybe he's a good shot, maybe he's a good this. So he has his purpose in the army, but he's devoted, or in an orchestra. So the orchestra doesn't negate himself. The violinist, he plays violin. He doesn't negate himself. But so it means negation to a higher purpose. That's what it means. So it doesn't think about yourself. Okay. And so Hasidim, this is not an easy thing to do because it's very, very easy for a person to fool himself. Like we just finished talking about, sometimes a person can learn the Torah, and the Torah makes him into an egotist. The Torah makes him into a monster. Some people learn the Torah, and they gives them a license to hate other people that aren't exactly according to their standards or Torah standards or whatever, and to hate, to get angry. Okay, so it's very easy for a person to fall into this trap. Very easy. So therefore, the Hasidim used to get together and they would drink and they would talk about serving God. And sometimes they would even say, listen, you're telling me you did this, you did that. And they would say things that weren't improper. Nowadays, the Farbrengens are not so much dealing with revealing the faults of other people. That's more even in the last generation, even 50 years ago. But nowadays, that doesn't work anymore. But still, the idea behind it is is to feel what's called bittul. Bittul means surrender, self-negation. Oh. So these Hasidim, they were all sitting in Russia. This is a story that happened 150 years ago. And the Hasidim were sitting in a house, and they were drinking, and they were talking about serving God, telling sort of stories, miraculous stories, telling their insights into the Torah, and all directed to this idea of loving the Torah, loving God, loving every Jew, and trying to negate your false egotism, bittul. So the Hasidim finished their Farbrengen late at night. They didn't look at the watch. They didn't look at the clock. And they were all going home on their way home. Some say it was only one Hasid. Some say it's a lot of, I read last night that the Rebbe wrote there was the whole group. And so in Russia and Moscow, a little town, it wasn't Moscow, it was some small town, there's curfews. And if usually there would be a policeman there, especially in the nighttime, there was nobody around. And because he was sent there, he's a policeman, and a policeman they have the authority of the Tsar eventually. I mean, they have their captain, the captain from the what is it, the major and the major of this, and finally it comes up to the Tsar. So here's this soldier, he's walking, this policeman, and he's got nothing to do in the middle of the night. All of a sudden he hears these Hasidim all singing, walking on the street. And so he says, who's going there? What is it? Kta idiot. Kta idiot in Russian. Who is going? So the Hasidim, they had just finished talking about bittul and surrendering yourself to God and how we really don't really exist, only with God's existence. So they said, bittul idiot. Who is going? Nothingness is going. Nothingness is going. Okay, now this policeman, he never heard such a word like that. He didn't know what it was. Batal Idiot, and it took them by surprise. It took them by surprise. They only had their papers, they had a right to be in the town, but they didn't have the right to be out, after 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the night. They didn't have a right to be out. So he asked, who is it? And they said, it's Bittel. Bittel Idiot. Bittel is walking. So the soldier never heard, the policeman never heard such an answer like that before. And he didn't exactly know what to do. So he said, okay, let them go. You let them go. It says he could have easily put them into prison, and especially because this was a chance for him to express his his rulership and his kingship. And it basically was just a simple person that who knows, even if it's in his house he was the boss, and now he could show he was the boss. But when he heard not just what the Hasidim said, but how they said it, is that it had an effect on him. And he realized that these people are surrendered to the Creator. That's the Creator's world. And he's part of it also. He's also part of the Creator's world. In other words, when a Jew reveals the essence of his soul, which is bittul, which is total surrender to the truth, is it has an effect on the outside world as well. First of all, it takes away your worries. So even psychologically. But second of all, the policeman saw that they were speaking the truth. That they weren't just trying to fake him or just, to make an impression on him. And he must have seen also that they were drunk. He had another reason to put them in jail. But nevertheless, when he heard a Jew, the essence of a Jew, which is total surrender to God, when he heard that, a Jew saying it, it completely negated him. He also surrendered and he let them go. So it should be also to us that the more we are devoted to our Creator, is the more the creation will fall into place and be not only less threatening, but it'll also be helpful to us and assist us in serving God in a happy way. Have a good day with Mashiach now. See everybody tomorrow at 8:15.